Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Agoncha. The Nigerian police has declared a 7th Senator Dino Melaye wanted for crimes relating to illegal possession of firearms. The police in a statement on Wednesday said the declaration follows the escape of 4 suspects being held by the police in relation to the case against the senator from detention. The 4 suspects are among 6 suspects who escaped from the Kogi State Police Command on Wednesday. They have also been declared wanted alongside Melaye and a Kogi State politician, Mohammed Audu. The declaration also comes a week after the police filed a case of criminal conspiracy and unlawful possession of prohibited firearms against both politicians. Meanwhile, Senator Dino Melaye has reacted to the declaration by the police. The senator reacted while raising a point of order to draw the attention of his colleagues to the police statement. Melaye alleged that the escaped suspects have been killed and threatened to sue the Inspector General of Police if they are not produced alive. He said he will sue the IGP for intimidation, abuse of power, harassment, and mental assault. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has ordered the removal of the Commissioner of Police in Kogi State, Ali Janga. Janga's dismissal follows the controversy which trailed the escape of 6 suspects from the Kogi State prison. The police IG, who has also ordered an investigation into the escape, has directed the Intelligence Response Team and Special Tactical Squad to work with the police personnel in the state for immediate rearrest of the escaped suspects. 13 other police officers have also been detained and investigated for their roles in the escape. Idris has also directed Sunday Ugbu, Commissioner of Police Federal Operations, Force Headquarters, to take over as the new Commissioner, Kogi State Police Command. The Nigerian Army has buried 11 soldiers killed by suspected bandits in Birnin-Gwari local government area of Kaduna State. The soldiers were killed at Panin Doka along Funtua Road, about 45 kilometers from Birnin-Gwari town. 9 vigilantes were also injured in that attack. The deceased soldiers were buried at the Commonwealth Cemetery, Kaduna, on Wednesday. Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has expressed confidence that the killings by suspected herders will soon be a thing of the past. Ortom gave the assurance while speaking to reporters at the Aso Villa in Abuja. He said he is confident that the recommendations of a committee set up by the federal government to investigate the cause of the crisis will provide lasting solutions to the issue, which has led to the death of over 200 Nigerians.
What is important is the NEC subcommittee headed by the Vice President is doing the needful, and I believe that the meeting that we had and the subsequent one that we are going to hold will definitely provide a solution to these perennial problems, and we'll sort it out once and for all. But we remain committed to our people and our ranching law, and I believe that that is the way forward. Like I keep saying, if people have better options, let them bring them on the table. For us in Benue State, that remains the global best practice, and Nigeria cannot be an exception, especially when the land is decreasing and the population is increasing. With the 20,000 cattle, 20 million cattle in Nigeria cannot cope with open grazing. There is no doubt about that. And a solution has to be found, just like it is found in India with over 300 million heads of cattle, in Brazil with close to 250 million heads of cattle, in America more than 300 million. But yet, there have not been clashes like the ones we have in Nigeria with just 20 million cattle. So we must adopt global best practice and modern ways of animal husbandry. This will go a long way in helping us.
The National Assembly has harmonized the historic Petroleum Industry Governance Bill. The bill was passed by the Senate after Donald Alasho-Adura, Senator representing Ondo Central, presented a conference committee report on the bill. The harmonized bill is expected to be sent to President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday for his assent. If the bill is signed into law, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) will be unbundled and will start running like proper business units. The Federal High Court in Kaduna State has struck out a suit filed by the former chairman of Pension Reform Tax Team Abdul Rashid Maina against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC). Maina had on November 14, 2017, sued the anti-graft agency for what he described as an ineligibility of the commission to carry out its functions on the ground that the 2004 EFCC Act is an illegality. In the petition he filed through his lawyer, Mohammed Sanikatu, Maina urged the court to declare as null and void the EFCC Act of 2004 on the premise that the act was modified by the former president Olusegun Obasanjo without passing the normal legislative processes as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution as amended, but that has been dismissed by the courts. The national leader, Bola Tinubu of the ruling All Progressive Congress, has praised calls by President Muhammadu Buhari for the reversal of the tenure extension granted to the National Working Committee. Buhari on Tuesday asked party members to consider cancelling the tenure extension decision because it is, quote, against the party's constitution and the Nigerian constitution, end of quote. Tinubu in a statement on Wednesday said the comments of the president has affirmed that the APC is a party that adheres to international democracy. The NWC is the executive arm of the party, responsible for its day-to-day operations. It is headed by the national chairman, John Oyegun. The decision to extend the tenure was taken at the last meeting on Friday, on February 28, but not everyone was in support of the extension.
I have taken some time to review and seek advice on the resolution, and what I found is that it contravenes both our party constitution and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. While the APC Constitution in Article 17, in bracket 1 and 13.2, bracket B, limits the tenure of elected officers to 4 years, renewable once by another election. The 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, as amended in Section 223, also prescribes periodic elections for party executives at regular intervals, which must not exceed 4 years. Furthermore, Article 31 of our party's constitution provides that any principal officer wishing to recontest or contest for another post must resign from his current post at least 1 month before the election. In this circumstance, what is expected of us is to conduct fresh elections once the tenure of the current executives approaches its end. A caretaker committee cannot remedy the situation and cannot validly act in place of elected officers.
The Lagos State government has declared Thursday, March 29 as a work-free day in the state. This was disclosed in a statement issued by the Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Kehinde Bangbeton. Bangbeton said the announcement is to allow residents welcome President Muhammadu Buhari, who is on a historic 2-day visit to the state. The president is expected to commission the new Ikeja bus terminal, attend a colloquium in honor of national leader of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and embark on a tour of the Eco-Atlantic city during his visit to the state. Meanwhile, despite the president's pending visit to Lagos State, the Ikeja branch of the Nigeria Bar Association has insisted it will go ahead with its planned protest against the Lagos land use charge. The chairman of the branch, Adesina Ogunlana, announced at a press briefing on Wednesday that the second protest against the law will hold on Thursday by 2 p.m. His announcement comes barely 24 hours after the public hearing at the Lagos House of Assembly on the amendment of the land use charge. Ogunlana also raised alarm on an alleged threat to his life.
I want to announce, and we are saying that we are going on with the protests tomorrow, despite the fact that the Lagos State government, for no justifiable reason, in our own opinion, had decided to declare tomorrow a public holiday. We'll go on tomorrow, but we want to assure Lagosians that our protest will be peaceful and we do not envisage any problem at all. To avoid any unnecessary confrontation, the protest is starting by 2 p.m. The choice of location where we're going to go, we will declare tomorrow when we are here. I've invited members of the press to come and join us in this particular program again to tell Lagosians that the struggle against Governor Ambode's toxic taxes is still on. That is the land use charge. We reject all such taxes and the protest will go on. And the latest information that comes to us, which involves a former senator living in this Lagos, they are planning to organize an accident for themselves, not for me. Assassination trying to involve some criminal elements known as thugs, cult boys and all that, and threatening that, well, if they have tried and failed in their bribe attempt, because attempts have been made to bribe me physically to come and myself and the secretary, and it has failed. Now they're getting more desperate, and I'm alerting the whole world about these efforts to silence the opposition to this wrong, horrible, monstrous, obnoxious, indeed unreasonable regime of fees of Governor Ambode, tagged down use charge 2018.
The Nigerian Labour Congress says it will take on any public or private establishment that implement policies that are anti-women or tends to discriminate against any gender. Labour leaders made a remark at a campaign rally to end gender-based violence in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city.
There have been reports of gender-based violence in recent times in many private establishments in the country. Women are also reported to either be sexually assaulted, discriminated against at work, or deprived of their rights due to gender reasons. This is the reason for this rally by the National Women Commission in conjunction with the International Labour Organization, ILO. President of Nigeria Labour Congress, Ayuba Waba, said it is time to give women opportunity in leadership, as Nigerian women have proven to be reliable at holding positions of authority.
Giving the opportunity to Nigerian women, we are convinced that they will be able to change the narrative. So it's time also for us to make sure that women are placed in appropriate places of authority, so that they can be able to use the tender touch and also change the policy narrative of our country. This is possible, this is doable, and therefore this is one message that we must continue to advance and we must continue to preach.
I bring to you.
The women union leaders want the government to do something about cases of abuse at work against women, which include intimidation, sexual assault, sexually explicit jokes, physical touching, and other forms of harassment.
Faced with these challenges, we commit ourselves to working together as sisters to respond to the challenges facing women by implementing gender policies, resolutions, and strategic programs. We resolve to fight relentlessly this cancer called gender-based violence.
So this campaign is a continuing campaign that we must find a way of sensitizing our male counterpart that the problems of society are not caused by women.
The Labour leaders say Nigeria signed into law the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act 2015, but implementation is still a challenge.
Corruption not in my country.
What is wrong with you? Man saying no? Tell them I drew for more than 1 hour.
Yeah, me. Ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe. Ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe. Ká kúrò fún Ọlọ́run. Ká satisfy yín níbi ọ̀rọ̀ yín náà ni mò ń ṣe.
Ẹ wọ́n jẹ́ ká lọ jàre ká kúrò níbí báyìí.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú. Hello ọ̀gá. Màá dọ́dọ̀ yín lẹ́sẹ̀ yín. I am assure you 5 minutes. Màá dọ́dọ̀ yín ẹ gbà bẹ́ẹ̀.
You are deceiving another customer just like you deceived us.
The same way he deceived us.
Eh? Why?
Ètò ni iṣẹ́ yìí. bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun ò lè jẹun bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun ìyá mi bó o bá kúrò ò lè jẹun workshop mi lélẹ́yìí ibi tí èèyàn bá ti ń ṣe ló ti ń jẹ ìyẹn ló ń pè ní workshop ibi tó bá ti ń work ní kó má ti shop.
You cannot base your business on lies. Koda now, it is corruption and it cannot work. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
$100,000 people to get only 10 people to register to vote, 10 new voters. Each of us standing here today, when you get back home, when you get to your place of work, your school, try and get 10 new people that do not have their PPC to register to vote. We're going to take on our website, onevoice.ng, please go there, give us the information. If you get 10 people to vote, then you're amongst us.
So at least start with your voter's card and begin to use that to bargain about the type of person you want to see on February 16, 2019 and March 2nd on the ballot paper.
So we want to focus on people who haven't voted before. It's 100,000 people who are looking to pledge that because that gives us a minimum of 1 million new voters.
Instead of to say, my vote no go count now, try vote first, then you see whether it will count, you know.
Glad to have you back. The Federation Account Allocation Committee has resolved a crisis that trailed the distribution of statutory allocation to the 3 tiers of government. During the normal monthly meeting at the headquarters of the Finance Ministry in Abuja, the FAC meeting was declared inconclusive over irreconcilable differences in revenue figures remitted by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC). However, at the reconvened meeting overseen by the Finance Minister and FAC Chairman Kemi Adeosun, the sum of 647.390 billion naira was disbursed to the 3 tiers of government. The federal government received 270.8 billion naira, while the state and local government councils got 173.75 billion naira and 130.90 billion naira, respectively.
Total statutory allocation 557,943, less cost of collection gives us 546,967, which is distributed federal government 257,927, state governments 130,824, local governments 100,860, and derivation 57.356, VAT for the month 89.447, net of cost of collection 85.869, which is distributed federal government 12.880, state governments 42.935, and local governments 30.04. So the grand total being distributed today is 647,390 million naira. That's an increase of 11,836 over last month. So the commissioners and ourselves have held the meeting formally. We've adopted the accounts, and those are the amounts being shared.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo says he is disappointed that President Muhammadu Buhari failed to sign the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The former president says he hopes that Nigeria signs the deal before it is too late. 44 African countries had last week signed the historic Free Trade Zone Agreement. It is the largest in the world since the creation of the World Trade Organization in 1995. The African countries seek to form a $2.5 trillion continental free trade zone. The Nigerian government committee is currently revising terms of the deal. Oil prices fell on Wednesday as investors took profit on a rally the day before to this year's high after a report showed a surprisingly large increase in U.S. crude inventories. Brent crude futures were down by 53 cents at $68.93 a barrel, while U.S. crude fell by 67 cents to $64.58 a barrel. Oil prices has risen in 7 out of the last 9 months and has increased by more than 4% this year, making this the 3rd consecutive quarter of gains, which is the longest stretch since late 2010. Moving on to the international scene now, the U.S. government has announced it is ending a program that protects Liberian citizens who live in the country. The deferred enforcement departure, which began under former President Bill Clinton, allows Liberians to live and work legally in the U.S. It's similar to another program called Temporary Protected Status, which the Trump administration also has worked to scale back. In a memorandum issued on Tuesday, U.S. President Donald Trump said Liberia was no longer experiencing armed conflict and has made significant progress in restoring stability and democratic governance. After days of intense debate and negotiations, the leaders of Ethiopia's governing coalition have chosen Abiy Ahmed to be their new leader. He is from the Oromo ethnic group, which has been at the center of anti-government protests since 2015. Abiy will now be put forward for the position of Prime Minister after the council approved the resignation of the outgoing Prime Minister, Haile Mariam Desalegn. Abiy is seen as an astute politician with impressive academic and military credentials. Moving on to sports now, Carl Ikeme will take the ceremonial kickoff when Nigeria trade tackles with England in an international friendly on June 2nd. This was disclosed by NFF President Amaju Pinnick after visiting the goalkeeper in hospital. During the visit in Manchester, Pinnick delivered the country's goodwill message and extended an invite to the former Leicester City and Middlesbrough man who is still undergoing chemotherapy to their tie against the Three Lions. Former Real Madrid and England coach Fabio Capello has left Jiangsu Suning of the Chinese Super League, ending an unremarkable 9-month run. The 71-year-old disciplinarian, who has denied interest in the vacant post at the Italian national team, largely failed to fire a Jiangsu squad containing the likes of former Chelsea midfielder Ramirez and fellow Brazilian Alex Teixeira. Capello, whose decorated career also includes coaching spells at AC Milan, Juventus, Roma and Russia, last June became one of the most high-profile names to move to China, where clubs have been spending big to lure foreign managers and players. Rafael Nadal could return from a hip injury next week after being named in Spain's Davis Cup squad. Nadal, who is 31, has not played competitively since pulling out of his Australian Open quarterfinal in January. He had planned to play in last month's Acapulco Open before withdrawing and then pulled out of the ATP Masters event in Indian Wells and Miami. Despite not playing since January, Nadal will return to action as the world #1 after Roger Federer was beaten in Miami Open's second round this week. Well, that's it on News Now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.